Dark. City explain. This alright, so this guy John Murdoch wakes up but naked in his sketchy bathroom, absolutely no idea who he is, where he is, or why he's suddenly in a live action horror movie. Dude's panicking, stumbling around, and finds a briefcase with the initials KH on it. What's inside? A postcard from Shell Beach, a place he's pretty sure he's never been to, but you know, maybe he had a wild beach weekend or something. Anyway, the phone rings, because apparently sketchy bathrooms come with a complimentary bathroom. Phones in. Some dude named Dr. Scriber is like, hey man, sorry, your memory kind of got deleted and the science experiment gone wrong, and oh yes, now some spooky dudes are after you. Good luck. Naturally, John's like, nope, and hangs up. Now he's trying to leave the hotel when surprised John's like, okay, this day just keeps getting better, and hightails it out of there. As he's sprinting, he notices 3 ridiculously tall, pale guys looking like they're on their way to audition for the next goth fashion show. He hits the lobby, and guess what? Everyone's taking an unexpected power nap. People in the elevator out cold. It's like the whole hotel collectively decided to hit the snooze button. Then boom, John's like, yeah, I'm out, in bolts. Meanwhile, the tall spooky dudes, they show up at the front desk, give the receptionist the stink eye, and when he's got no answers, they hit him with some mystery juice. I'm sure he's fine. Sleep. Now cut to Emma, John's wife, who's apparently just finding out her husband's memory is toast, and he's being hunted by creepy bad guys. Dr. Schreiber is like, hey, if you see him, just give me a shout. Yeah, and Emma, because she's in a movie, is like, sure, that sounds reasonable. Then we get Inspector Bumstead, who's like, all right, we've got 6 murder victims, all with this weird spiral doodle on them, and guess who was last seen at the hotel? Our boy John. So naturally he calls Emma like, hey, your husband might be a serial killer, just FYI, maybe turn them in, please. Meanwhile, John's out there wandering the city, blowing fingerprints at all. He stumbles across a Shell Beach sign. Hey, from the postcard, climbs up to check it out, but surprise, so it seems you've discovered your unpleasant nature. Sleep now. Music. Cut to the stranger underground layer, where they're all losing it because apparently JN had superpowers now, and that was not part of the plan. Alright. So it turns out John Murdoch was part of this whack experiment called imprinting. But thanks to his unexpected superpowers, he managed to PE out of there. Don't get it me neither. Now the creepy goth gang, aka the strangers, want him back. Meanwhile, Emma gets home from the police station, probably hoping for a nap, but instead finds John chilling there like, hey, I live here, right? He doesn't remember her, but at least his business card had the address, so points for that. Emma's like, where have you been for 3 weeks? And John's like, yeah, about that. I didn't even know my name until I checked my wallet. Things get worse when she tells him he's a suspect in the murder of 6 women. See you, John, freaking out and bolting again. Cut to midnight, and the strangers are having their creepy underground meeting. Dr. Schreiber, our favorite mad scientist, is there too, running the sciency stuff. The leader of the strangers, Mr. Book, pops up and just says shut it down, like he's closing a shop for the night. But suddenly the whole city goes into sleep mode. Everyone's out cold except John, because apparently he's too cool for nap time. He's wandering around shaking people like, wake up, people, wake up. Sheeple, but nope, they're down for they count. Then the city goes full on Transformer mode. Meanwhile, the strangers and Dr. Schreier are out there doing their thing, tuning the city, as they call it. They're injecting people with syringes, wiping their memories, and basically handing out new identities like it's no big deal. 1 minute you're a doctor, next thing you know, bam, you're a serial killer. After their creepy memory rewrite session, the strangers refocus on their John Murdoch problem. Dr. Schreier has cooked up a special syringe filled with John's subconscious memories, and they need a volunteer to use it. Mr. Hand steps up like, I'll do it. It's always the weird guy volunteering for the sketchy stuff, but to be fair, they're all weird. He gets injected, convulses for a bit, and boom, he's got all of John's memories now, which they'll use to help track him down. Next scene, John's out there on the subway, still hunting for Shell Beach. He asks around, but apparently everyone's forgotten the place even exists. Suspicious, then he looks at the trusty postcard again and notices the name Carl Harris on it, the same initials from the suitcase. Coincidence? Probably not. John tracks down Carl's place, and the old guy starts reminiscing about John's childhood. Look, it's a sweet trip down memory lane. John predictably has zero recollection of any it, and then gets curious, asking Carl the $1 million question, why is it Always night here, well that's cause the movie is called Dark City. Carl gives him the classic old man brush off like a just get some rest kid, but surprised. Carl's not as chill as he seems. As soon as John's out of sight he calls up Emma. Like, hey, John's here, FYI he's acting really weird, might want to come pick him up. Emma spills the beans to Inspector Bumstead and now the whole crew's heading over, but little do they know Mr. H has been eavesdropping on the whole convo. Using John's own memories, I guess that makes sense. JN realizes he's been sold out, but by the time tries to make a run for it, the strangers led by Mr. Hand are already outside ready for a showdown, so Murdoch somehow manages to make a break for it, gets out onto the streets, but plot twist, the goth squad surrounds him again, and not the big titty kind, no goth girls here. Unfortunately they're all just bald guys. Just as they're about to bag him, Emma Inspector Bumstead pull up in their car like some action movie hero and swoop him away. Cut to the police station, where Bumstead has grilled Murdoch like he's sure he's the guy behind all the murders, but Murdoch's had enough and flips the script. He's like, hey, do you even remember how to get to Shell Beach? Bumstead's like, of course I do. Wait, do I? Turns out no one seems to remember the directions. Then Murdoch drops the bigger bomb. Why is it always night here? And why does no one remember the daytime? Bumstead's mind is starting to melt, and Murdoch just casually levitates a book to prove his point, because why not add some magic to the existential crisis? Before Bumpin can process that Mr. Hand and his creepy pals crashed the station, putting all the officers to sleep. Like flipping an off switch, they head to the cell to grab Murdoch, but surprise, he's already Houdini his way out. Next thing you know, Murdoch tracks down Dr. Scriber at a sketchy bathhouse because of course, and he's ready for answers. He's like, Doc, what's the deal with this city? Why are these creepy dudes chasing me? Sir, surprisingly chill, spills the tea. They're all part of some massive experiment. Just as things are getting juicy, Bumstead shows up, flips the script, and takes control of Schreiber. Plot twist: Bumstead is on Team Murdoch now. Turns out he was the one who let Murdoch out of his cell because he's as tired of the weirdness as anyone else and wants some answers himself, so they forced Sure to take them to Shell Beach. They hop in a car and set off, but Strayer all doom and gloom, constantly saying the trip's pointless. Sure enough, they hit a dead and literally the bridge to Shell Beach gone poof, so they're like, all right, boat it is. While cruising on the boat, Sir finally drops the full truth bomb. The strangers, yeah, they're actually aliens. They showed up on Earth after nearly going extinct and decided, hey, humans are thriving, let's be like them. Only problem, the strangers have no souls, yet these aliens are out here trying to figure out the whole secret sauce of being human, so they built this entire fake city, kidnapped a bunch of humans from all over, and every night at midnight they hit the reset button, swap out everyone's memories like they're switching TV channels, and watch what happens. The goal: figure out how the human soul works so they can save their own race. No, it doesn't make sense, and this really is the best explanation. I'm sorry, Scriber adds that he's the best psychologist around, which is why the strangers don't wipe his memory every night. They need him to keep the experiment running smoothly. Murdoch's like, okay, but seriously, why is it always night in DR? Creepers all well, the strangers are basically vampires. They're terrified of light, so they made sure it's always dark. Okay, sure, why not? Anyway, they finally get to Shell Beach, except plot twist, it's just a cheap poster slapped on a wall. Murdoch and Inspector Bumstead not having it. No, turns out the whole city is an experiment, and they're floating in a giant space with no way out. Right on cue, Mr. H shows up with his squad and Emma as their hostage. Meanwhile, Mr. Hanslick, all right, Murdoch, game over, and they nab him fast forward. Murdoch's tied to a chair, surrounded by the creepy alien mob who are all chanting for his demise, but Mr. Book, the head stranger, has bigger plans. He orders Dr. Schreiber to inject Murdoch with a special imprint that will basically let the strangers take over his soul. Don't ask questions on how that works, just go along with it, sir. Sweating bullets, but pulls a fast one. He switches the syringe and injects Murdoch with all his original memories instead. Well, in fact, these memories are a little bit altered, as you're about to find out. Cue the memory montage. Murdoch suddenly remembers everything, including that he really was born in Shell Beach. Now, with all his memories unlocked, he's stronger than ever. In one flashback, Dr. Schreiber is in there giving him a pep talk like, hey, you have all these powers, bro, and you got to defeat these aliens and take over The city you see Dr. Schreiber implanted himself in various memories so that Murdoch could quickly learn how to use the power and turn it on the aliens. This is some Dragon Ball Z type in. The end. Murdoch's the champ after the death settles Murdoch's. Like, hey, what about Emma? But sure drops. The bad news: Emma's memories have been wiped in the last tuning session, so she has no clue who he is Murdoch's devastated, but he's not giving up just yet. With his new godlike powers, he decides to rewrite everything. Meanwhile, Emma's just vibing by the ocean, completely unaware that her ex just rebuilt the universe like he's playing Sim City on God mode. Honestly, if he doesn't ask for a refund on all this chaos, he's a better man than most. Moral of the story: it's kind of like the Matrix, but not as good at all.